Good afternoon, friends. In last lecture, I have discussed the different types of bacteriological media. In today's lecture, we will see the different method or the quantitative measurements of bacterial growth. In that, first, viable count and total count. In short, we can say that is enumeration. Enumeration method of bacterial count. Enumeration, it means the counting of microorganism which is present in sample. Yes, here we can say that the measurement or enumeration. The meaning of both the enumeration and measurement is same, that is the counting of microorganism which is present in sample. That is simply the enumeration or the measurement. So this is done by to know the intense of presence of the spoiler in the spoiled food. Then second thing, to detect which type of organism is responsible for the spoilage. And third, that is there are two main methods that are used for enumeration or the measurement, that is viable count method and total count method. So what is objective? It means to detect. So what is main objective? To detect which type of organism is responsible for spoilage. That is the main objective of enumeration. There are two methods are used basically there are two methods are used. First, viable count method, and second, total count method. Then in viable count method, by the use of spread plate method, and in total count method there is use of pour plate method. I am repeating. Yes, in viable count method there is use of spread plate method, and in total count by the use of pour plate method. First, viable count. A viable count, it allows one to identify the number of actively growing or dividing cell in a sample. The plate count method or spread plate method, it relies on bacteria growing a colony on the nutrient medium. In this, the number of colonies can be counted. Then the plate count agar is used for general count, and McConkey's agar is used for gram negative organisms. So what is the difference? That is the plate count agar is used for general count, and second thing, that is the McConkey's agar is used for specifically gram negative organisms. And then direct viable count. This method involves standard plate count in which repeated dilution of the sample. The sample is serially diluted as a 1:10, 1:100, 1:1000. It means 1 ml of sample was taken, it is diluted up to the 10 ml, that is 1:10. Then from this, take 1 ml, withdraw 1 ml of sample, and it is diluted up to the 100 ml, that is 1:100. And 1:1000, it means withdraw 1 ml of sample, and it is diluted up to the 1000 ml, that is 1:1000 in sterile distilled water, and it is cultivated on nutrient agar for bacteria. So this is the dilutions: 1:10, 1:100, 1:1000, and 1:10,000. These dilutions are carried out in sterile distilled water, and it is cultivated on nutrient agar for bacteria. Then potato dextrose agar or Sabbatius dextrose agar is used for fungal identification. Yes, for fungal identification there is use of potato dextrose agar or Sabbatius dextrose agar. Then here we can see the image of dilution series, as I already discussed. So what is dilution, how it is done? 1:10, 1:100, 1:1000, 1:10,000. That is 1 ml of sample was taken, it is diluted up to the 10 ml. Then same 1 ml was withdrawn from this above, and then it is diluted up to the 100. Same here 1 ml was withdrawn, and it is diluted up to the 1000. Here also see the dilutions. Here we can see the colonies which are formed on plate. Then Here we can see the pour plate method and spread plate method. In pour plate method, first inoculate the empty petri plate, then second add melted nutrient agar, then swell to mix, and last the colonies grow in and solidified media. In spread plate method, first inoculate the plate containing solid media. Here we can see the bacterial dilution. For both method, we can use 1 ml or 0.1 ml of bacterial dilution. Then second, spread the inoculum over the surface, and the spreading it should be even. Yes, spreading it should be even spreading. And next, the colonies grows only on the surface of the medium. Here we can see the colonies. Then total count. In this, the initial analysis is done by the mixing the serial dilutions of sample in liquid nutrient agar, which is then poured into the bottles. Then these bottles are then sealed and laid to their sides to produce a sloping agar surface. Then the colonies are then counted by the eye to total number of colonies. The total number of colonies are said as a total viable count. Yes, first the initial analysis is done by what? Done by mixing the serial dilution of sample in liquid nutrient agar, which is then poured into the bottles. The next, the bottles are then sealed and laid to their sides to produce sloping agar surface. Then the colonies are then counted by the eyes, and the total number of colonies are said as a total viable count. Next, pour plate method. The same procedure is done for the still serial dilution. Then serially diluted sample is then mixed with molten nutrient agar. Yes, the serially diluted samples are mixed with molten nutrient agar. Then it is poured into the sterile petri plate. Then these petri plates are incubated under appropriate temperature, and the colonies were counted. Yes, same procedure is done for this still serial dilutions. Then next, this serially diluted sample are then mixed with what? Then these samples are mixed with molten nutrient agar, and it is poured onto the sterile petri plate. And these petri plates are incubated under appropriate temperature, it means the required temperature. And after incubation, the colonies were counted. At the last conclusion, the enumeration of this spoiled food sample are important to encounter the type of microbes is causing the spoilage. It means the type of microorganism is responsible for the spoilage, and hence this method this is used to prevent the same type of spoilage. This can be avoided by making the environmental changes. Yes, what is remedy? It means it can be avoided by the use of or by making environmental changes which inhibits the organism which are responsible for the spoilage. Then we will see anaerobic cultivation of anaerobes. Here we will see the cultivation of anaerobes. First, we will see the bacterial classification by O2 oxygen requirement. As I said, or as I discussed in previous lecture, different classifications of bacteria. First, obligate aerobes. It requires oxygen for their growth. For example, or it means O2 act as an electron acceptor. For example, Pseudomonas aeruginosa. Then second, obligate anaerobes. It requires or it grow only in complete absence of oxygen. That is, O2 is toxic for bacteria. For example, Clostridium tetani. In obligate anaerobes, the inorganic compounds are act as an electron acceptor. Yes, in obligate aerobes, it requires oxygen for their growth. In that, the oxygen act as a electron acceptor, and for example Pseudomonas aeruginosa. And second, obligate anaerobes, it means it grows only in complete absence of oxygen. It means it is toxic for bacteria. For example, Clostridium tetani, in that the inorganic compounds are act as a electron acceptor. Then next, facultative anaerobes, it means it can grow only under aerobic and anaerobic conditions. It means these are grow anaerobic as well as aerobic condition. For example, E. coli. Then microaerophilic, it means it grows best at low oxygen tension. For example, Hylobacter pylori. Then next, when to suspect the anaerobic infections. First, foul smelling discharge, then necrotic gangrenous tissues and abscess formation, then free gas in tissues, then black discoloration of exudate, that is bacterioids melanginous, then sulfur granules in discharge, then bacteriemia or endocarditis with no growth of aerobic blood cultures. Then what is the risk factor for anaerobic infection? Yes, what are the risk factors? First, poor blood supply and tissue necrosis, in that trauma, then foreign body, then surgery, then malignancy, then diabetes mellitus, then splenectomy, then immunocompromised patient. These are the risk factor. I am repeating the risk factor of this. First, poor blood supply and tissue necrosis, that is trauma, then malignancy, foreign body and surgery. And next, diabetes mellitus, then splenectomy, and last, immunocompromised patient. Then we'll see the sites with normal anaerobic flora. First, throat, mouth, vagina, cervix, skin folds and intestine. And so what is caution when sampling the sites not suitable for anaerobic culture but can cause the anaerobic infection nearby tissues after trauma. So what is caution? It means when sampling, these sites are not suitable for anaerobic cultures but can causes the anaerobic infections is nearby the tissue after trauma. Then what are the suitable specimens for the anaerobic cultures? First, it includes first abscess, then blood, exudative body fluid, deep wound, sterile surgical samples, dead tissues, tissue samples and biopsies, then endometrial swab, then CSF, that is cerebrospinal fluid, and bites. Yes, first it includes abscess, bites, then CSF, that is cerebrospinal fluid, then blood, next exudative body fluid, then deep wound, next sterile surgical samples, dead tissue samples and biopsies, and endometrial swabs. Then here, that is suitable specimens. Here, unsuitable specimens. First, the specimen from site in which anaerobic bacteria are normal flora. For example, throat, rectal swab, then urine, bronchial washes, then cervico-vaginal mucosal swab, and sputum and saliva. Then voided and catheterized urine, then gastric content, small bowel content, feces and colostomy content should not be cultured for anaerobic bacteria. Then specimens are not submitted in anaerobic transport media. Then next, improperly labeled specimen. And last, follow the rejection policy for unacceptable specimen. Then sampling for anaerobic culture. First, aspirate the specimen using needle and syringe is the best and convenient way for sampling. The following usual procedure are: remove the air for syringe immediately first. If no pus or fluid come on aspiration, inject sterile saline subcutaneously and resample. Then the last and least way to use deep swab and rapidly to transfer the anaerobic transport media. Then transport, it must be done immediately to the lab within 1 hour and less than 2 hours. Then next, never refrigerate the sample for anaerobic culture. These are the things. First, it must be done immediately to the lab within 1 hour or less than 2 hours. Second, never refrigerate the sample for anaerobic culture. Then, if delay it cannot be avoided, use the anaerobic transport kit, especially for swab and small volume samples. Yes, what is it means? If delay cannot be avoided, use the anaerobic transport kit, especially for the swab and small volume samples. The anaerobic transport system is commercially available. It consists of group of vials, tubes and bags that remove the oxygen, and it maintain what? Anaerobic atmosphere for up to the 20 hours at 20 to 25 degrees Celsius. Here we can see the fluid transport for aerobic as well as anaerobic, and here we can see the anaerobic transport kit. Here we can see the both images, anaerobic transport kit and the fluid transport for anaerobic as well as aerobic. Yes, these are the blood culture bottles for anaerobic blood culture. Yes, these are the blood culture bottles for anaerobic blood cultures. Then what is precaution? First, avoid the shock to the anaerobic bacteria by exposing them to oxygen or dryness of sample. Then second, avoid exposure to the cold, as the anaerobic microorganisms are sensitive to the cold. Yes, what is precaution? First, avoid shock to the anaerobic bacteria by exposing them to the oxygen or dryness of sample. Second, avoid exposure to cold, as anaerobic microorganisms are sensitive to the cold. Then avoid swabs in sampling, as a swab fiber containing ambient air and introduce oxygen to the sample. Then anaerobic culture methods. First, use of media containing reducing substances. For example, robust on cooked meat broth or thioglycolate broth. Yes, first method, use of media containing reducing substances. In that there is use of first, that is robust on cooked meat broth or thioglycolate broth. Then second, culture away from oxygen, that is use of deep agar tubes. Then chemical exclusion of O2, that is anaerobic gas pack system. And last, mechanical exclusion of O2, that is anaerobic incubator. First, we will see one by one. In that, first, use of media containing reducing substances. First, in that robust on cooked meat broth, we will see the composition of this. The 5 gram of cooked meat particles plus nutrient broth. Yes, what it contain? It contain 5 gram of cooked meat particles and nutrient broth. Then the reducing substances are hemine and glutathione in meat particles, and it is used for what? Anaerobic cultivation. As I said earlier, it is used for anaerobic cultivation. And sterilization is carried out by the use of moist heat sterilization. It means by the use of autoclave at 121 degrees Celsius for 30 minutes. Yes, sterilization is carried out by the use of moist heat sterilization. It means The sterilization is carried out by the use of autoclave. Notice temperature and time ratio. It means it is carried out at 121 degrees Celsius for 30 minutes. Here we can see the Robert Stone cooked meat broth. Then second, thioglycolate broth. It is the medium for anaerobes supplemented with nutrient like thiamine, then vitamin K, 1% glucose, 0.1% thioglycolate, 0.1% ascorbic acid, then 0.05% cysteine and red hot iron fillings. Yes, this media it contains or it is supplemented with first thiamine, then vitamin K, 1% of glucose, 0.1% of thioglycolate, then 0.1% of ascorbic acid, 0.05% of cysteine or red hot iron fillings. Then sterilization, same here the sterilization is carried out by use of moist sterilization, that is by the use of autoclave and at 121 degrees Celsius for 15 minutes. Then cool to 25 degrees Celsius and stored in a cool dark place, preferably at 25 degrees Celsius. Before use the medium, it must be boiled in water bath. To expel any dissolved oxygen and then sealed with sterile liquid paraffin. Yes, what I am saying, it means before use this medium, it must be boiled in water bath to expel any dissolved oxygen and then it is sealed with sterile liquid paraffin. Here we can see the thioglycolate broth. Next, culture away from O2, that is deep agar tubes. This simple method to produce anaerobic condition, that the agar surface can be overlaid with oil to maintain the anaerobic condition. Then in this the sterilization is carried out same by the use of moist heat sterilization. It means by the use of autoclave, that at 121 degrees Celsius for 30 minutes. At 121 degrees Celsius for 30 minutes. Then inoculation is by the deep stabbing. Then here we can see the O2 tube containing oxygen content of culture tube with deep agar tubes. Here we can see the high oxygen, then low oxygen, here no oxygen, that is growth in deep agar. Next we will see the chemical exclusion of oxygen. It means anaerobic gas pack system. In this there is use of H2 to convert the air O2 to H2O, that is oxygen to water, in the presence of catalyst. The reaction formula for this, here we can see this formula, 2H2 plus O2, that is 2H2O. The source of H2 is the gas packet commercially supplied. The catalyst is palladium contained in the lid of the jar. So what is catalyst? That is palladium. And anaerobic indicator strips included to monitor the anaerobic conditions. Here we can see the gas pack envelope, wire mesh containing the palladium catalyst. Here we can see the image of chemical exclusion of O2, that is anaerobic gas pack system. Yes, so it is also the anaerobic gas pack system. Here we can see the gas pack system needing water, and gas pack system it does not need the water. There are two different images. And last, mechanical exclusion of oxygen, that is anaerobic incubator. This is all about the cultivation of anaerobes, or the cultivation techniques or the cultivation methods of anaerobes. Yes, I will stop here.